All right, 5 quick ones. Dominick Puni is been starting at right guard. Spencer Burford, John Feliciano are battling injuries. Puni is in position to take over the starting job.
Yeah.
Will Dominick Puni share right guard with Burford and Feliciano at different points this year, or will he take the job outright?
I think he'll share it. I think that Chris Forster, the offensive line coach, run game coordinator, has shown that that's the way he likes to do it. He never really gave it full on to Burford, right? And I haven't seen enough from Puni to say, hey, game, set, match. He's been good. He's held it. No question about it. I think there's a lot of promise there. When he gets his hands on you, he stays on you. He's really good in tight spaces, but he's also been late on a couple of pole blocks, and it's still a work in progress. I think you have to really hone in on it to sort of see the chips in the paint, but it's there. And I don't think Forster is going to give him full reign because it just hasn't been definitive enough to this point yet.
Niners number 2 quarterback this year will be?
It'll be Brandon Allen. And by the way, if you combine the foot speed of a Josh Dobbs and the arm strength of a Brandon Allen, you would have Josh Allen, which would be a much better quarterback.
J.J. McCarthy done for the year. Minnesota had Josh Dobbs last year. Now they have Sam Darnold. Will the Vikings come knocking for Josh Dobbs? And if Tanner Mordecai plays well in the preseason, if Brandon Allen is your number 2 quarterback, will the Niners go for the cheaper Tanner Mordecai as the number 3? Or will they go with Dobbs as number 3 and he's supposed to be making $2.25 million?
Yeah, but a lot of that's guaranteed. So they're already basically on the hook. The way they got him in
with Sudfeld, though.
I know, but Brock, and this is what I was going to get to. Brock Purdy, at least the murmurs were there already, right? There was already a groundswell, and you get all the credit in the world for starting it, at least in the media, of there's something going on with this Purdy guy. And now revisionist history is everyone, we knew from day one that Brock Purdy was incredible. But it was not blatantly apparent to anyone who wasn't paying very close attention that, hey, this is happening here in these limited reps and in the moments that we can't see. Brock Purdy's doing something, and he's pushing Nate Sudfeld for these jobs, and with Jimmy Garoppolo on a weird side field. That hasn't happened yet with Mordecai. At least I haven't heard that groundswell yet. I know you're big on him. That's fine. I haven't seen him do enough with the reps that he's gotten, which have been limited, and by the way, not increasing. And I haven't heard anyone behind the scenes be like, this Mordecai guy, like, look out for him. So it doesn't feel full-on Sudfeldian yet. That said, I really do hope for his sake, in this case Mordecai, that he just rips it up. That would be great, and I think that would be an interesting storyline, but I think Dobbs is pretty entrenched, and I think they carry 3. I think they carry 3 quarterbacks this season, and it will be Dobbs, Allen, and Purdy, with Mordecai probably being a practice squad guy.
When I asked Brock Purdy about Mordecai, he smiled and said he can rip it.
He can.
And something tells me Tanner Mordecai is going to play well in this game against the Saints. We should
love to see it.
We will find out.
Would love to see it.
Special teams.
Yeah.
The Niners special teams looked bad in this last game,
yes,
especially the kick return.
Yep.
The new kickoff rules are unusual.
Uh-huh.
Every team in the league's got the same challenge.
Yep.
I asked Juszczyk today. I said I think Garendo and Schrader and Debo are almost ideally suited for this.
Yep.
And I really believe Cody Schrader might be the perfect return man for these rules.
Yep.
That all being said, what do you think? Is the 49ers special teams coverage was that first game against the Titans an indication of what is to come, and they're going to have nightmare coverage units this year? Or is it just early on, they will get adjusted and they will be better in kickoff coverage this year?
I have no indication that they're going to be any better than they were against the Tennessee Titans. It does not matter, though, because the second the regular season starts, Kyle Shanahan will send in the missive to anyone who's kicking it off, whether it be Mitch Wishnowsky or Jake Moody or Kyle Flippin Juszczyk, boot that shit through the back of the end zone. We will take a 5-yard loss compared to where we were last year to mitigate any chance that someone can take it to the house on us. And I'm already seeing it around the NFL. The special teams coordinators had their fun. They got to pretend like they were so innovative and so interesting. Every NFL head coach does not give a shit about special teams until it can win or lose them a game. And right now, the new kickoff rules are pretty clearly stating you will lose a game this way. You are praying, if you are a team, that they're kicking it to you. And I was watching, as a sicko, I was watching the Patriots-Eagles preseason game for about 5 minutes. I saw 2 kickoffs. They both went through the back of the end zone. It's over. They should have just moved the kickoff back, because these new rules are just going to be immediately mitigated by the risk aversion of NFL head coaches who just don't care about special teams and sure as shit aren't going to lose a game based on special teams. So it doesn't matter if they have good kickoff coverage or not. They're not going to be using it.
Last question before we hit the chats, and then we'll get out of here. Yeah. Niners had a bad run D last year in the preseason. They had a bad run D last year in the playoffs, and they struggled with their run defense in this game against Tennessee. Pro Football Focus gave them a 54.9.
Ooh, that's generous.
Pro Football Focus run defense grade. Missed tackles. The Niners supposedly missed 13 tackles last week. Now, it is week 1, and week 1 is probably the 1 week where guys look bad tackling. It just takes a week. I don't know why, but it just does. Yeah, so maybe the 13 missed tackles is not a big issue. Maybe the run defense is not a big issue.
They had about 7 of them on one special teams play, so maybe it wasn't that bad.
What do you think, though, Dieter? I mean, how worried are you now? This year, no Greenlaw, maybe till late in the year, no Armstead all year, no Afunga maybe to start the year. How concerned are you about the 49ers run defense this year?
Immensely. I'm immensely worried about it, because they also don't have someone who I can see setting an edge consistently on the outside of the defensive line. And I have one defensive tackle who does not do anything against the run, in Javon Hargrave. So you are counting on Malik Collins to be the man in the middle. And I'm not going to lie to you, Larry, I was a little bit surprised at how small he was when I saw him at camp. I mean, he's a hefty gentleman, but he's not very tall, and his arms aren't very long. Now, to his credit, he looked a lot bigger when I watched him on tape, and that's what really matters. But, man, I am very concerned about it, because when Eric Armstead took up his injury, it was well before the playoffs that their run defense went to shit. It was well before. It started falling apart as soon as Eric Armstead's foot started to act up again. And by the way, it wasn't as good as the 49ers would have led you to believe before Eric Armstead's foot became an issue. Eric Armstead wasn't even that good of a run stopper. But the fact of the matter is, he was their run stopper. He was the reason the run was stopped last year. And they don't have a player as good as Armstead in the position Armstead has now vacated. I'm very concerned about it. I think that this could be a real problem for them. And oh, by the way, first game of the season, here's Breece Hall. And I know that the Jets offensive line isn't all that great, but Breece Hall's pretty flipping good. We're going to find out from the jump if this team has it or not.